All right, now we're going to talk about primary key and foreign key. So if we describe EMP, describe department number, describe departments, you can see that department number column in the departments table and the department number column in the EMP table are the columns used to link these tables together. Because remember, as we did earlier, if we want to see the city that everybody works in, we're going to select ename from the EMP table, but we have to use location from the departments table, and we do a join condition between these two columns. So let's just, before we continue, let's just do that. Select ename, comma, location from EMP join DEPT using, and we're going to use a department number. And you see everybody's name and city. Remember, these are columns from two different tables, but there is a join condition because we're using the column. So that's going to lead us into primary key and foreign key. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at a faculty table and a student table. We're going to create these tables. All right, so we're going to use the faculty ID to link from the faculty table to the advisor ID in the student table. Let's see how we're going to make that make sense. So Mr. John, let's call him Dr. John. This is Dr. John, this is Dr. Janet, and this is Dr. Bill. So if you look at their ID, their employee ID, their faculty ID, that's pretty much their employee IDs. Their employee IDs, 100, 200, 300, they correspond to the advisor ID for the student. So Len, if you look at Len, Mike, if you look at Mike, Mike's advisor is 200. Mike's advisor is 200. If you look to see where else 200 exists, 200 is the employee ID or the faculty ID of Dr. Janet. So instead of having department number have the same, the departments table have the same column name as the employees table, meaning department number, they have the same column name in two separate tables, but they don't always have to have the same column name. The join condition can be used by columns that don't even have the same name, but have the same data. All right. So first, let's create the faculty table, and we're going to use the primary key, which is a unique identifier, on the faculty ID column. Now, if you remember, the unique key we used earlier was used to uniquely identify a row. The primary key is very similar to that. It uniquely identifies a row. However, it also is the parent to a foreign key in another table. So the foreign key advisor is going to be the child to the parent faculty ID. And then you can continue to create other tables. A table here, a table here, a table here, a table here, with multiple foreign keys. Multiple tables have multiple foreign keys, and then one table will have the primary key. All right, so we're going to clear screen, and we're going to do create table faculty, and we're going to say faculty ID. It's going to be a number, and it's going to take 3 digits. And we're going to say primary, we're going to say constraint, constraint name, and constraint type. Constraint, and then constraint name, we'll call it PK underscore ID. The constraint type, primary key, comma. So we're done the first column in creating this table. Create table faculty, and here's column 1. Column 1 is called faculty ID, FID. Here's the data type, it's number with 3 digits. Constraint means we're about to introduce a constraint. Here's the constraint name and the constraint type. So we hit comma, and I'm going to hit enter. And we're going to go to the next column of the faculty table, which is just name. And we will call it name, and that's going to be varchar 2. And we're going to close parentheses. Table created. So let's describe faculty. Notice not null popped up in the null category. It says null question mark. Is this null? Can this be null? No, not null. The reason is anytime you have a primary key on a column, it cannot have a blank space because it's a unique identifier. How can you have a unique identifier without a value in that row? You cannot. So notice it's automatic. Once you put primary key, not null is automatically included. All right. So we created the faculty table. Let's create the student table. It's going to be name and advisor. Create table students. Name. That's going to be varchar 2. Give it 20 digits. And then advisor. The student's advisor. We will say that's going to be number and we'll give it 3 digits. Now, we're going to need a constraint. So we're going to say constraint, enter, just to get to the next line. We're not going to type the word foreign key. We're just going to say references. Well, we have to give the name first. I'm sorry, constraint. And the constraint name, we'll call it FK for foreign key underscore AD for advisor. Constraint name, and then the constraint type. So we're going to say references, and it references the faculty table and the faculty ID column in that table. Close parentheses, enter, table created. So let's analyze what we did here. Create table students, here's column 1. Very simple, name, varchar 2. Column 2 is called advisor. The data type is number with 3 digits available. And instead of closing parentheses and finishing the create table syntax, we want to give a constraint to this advisor column. So we have to put the word constraint and then constraint name. Notice there are no commas. I just hit enter to get to the next line. Constraint name, and normally you would put unique. Normally you would put, as you can see here, primary key. But when we do foreign key, we say references because this column references this column in a completely different table called faculty. All right. So this highlighted portion combined with this highlighted portion is all one column. Remember, this is one column and then comma, and then everything else is a second column. This is only a 2-column table called name and advisor. Table created. So remember, column, data type, and if you want a constraint, you put constraint, constraint name, and constraint type. So advisor, data type, and then constraint. FK underscore AD is the constraint name. References means it's a foreign key. This is like the child referencing the parent. Now the parent is in the faculty table with a column of FID. All right. So let's clear screen. Now we're going to insert these values into the table. So faculty is going to get 100, 200, 300, Dr. John, Dr. Janet, and Dr. Bill. Now we know how to insert. Insert into faculty values. And I'm going to use the ampersand just so we can make it quicker. Ampersand F underscore ID, comma, and then ampersand name. And we use quotes for name because it's varchar. FID is number, so we don't need it. So FID is going to be 100. And I believe it's 100 and Dr. John. Hit the up arrow a couple times. Then we're going to do 200 and it's Dr. Janet. And then 300, Dr. Bill. One row created, one row created, one row created. Naturally, you want to do a select star from faculty. And we have 3 rows. Faculty ID and the name. This is faculty. These are professors. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing for student. Len, Pam, and Mike. This is their advisors. So Len reports to advisor 300, who is Dr. Bill. But all we have is the advisor numbers. All right. So same thing. Insert into student. I believe we have student or students. Describe student. Students, plural. Insert into students. And we have the name of the student, which is varchar 2, and advisor. Name and advisor. So name is going to be, we will do quote, ampersand, name, quote, and then ampersand, advisor. First name I think is Len. Len reports to 300. Insert, and I did not put the values clause, I'm sorry. Insert into students values. So that's Len reports to 300. Hit the up arrow a couple times. Next is going to be Pam reports to, I think, 100. Hit the up arrow a couple times. And then we have Mike who reports to 300. One row created. Select star from students. There we have it. All right, so let's clear screen and take a look at this. So if we describe students and describe faculty, we created these tables. And we created them with a relationship column between them. Therefore, I can select information from one table and link it to another table. Okay, so the students' names are select star from students. So we have Len, Pam, and Mike. Here are the advisors. Looks like I made a mistake. Let me alter this to say 200. We'll do update table set advisor equals, I'll say 200, where name equals, not table, update students, where name equals Mike. All right, now we'll do select star from students. Okay, 3, 1, 2. So select star from faculty. All right. Now, let's say hypothetically we have hundreds of tables, right? And faculty, the primary key is FID, and multiple tables are child tables to the parent table faculty. All right. We already created a child reference key, a foreign key in the students table. But the primary key, the parent, is FID. What if I wanted to see every student's name, and not their advisor number, but the name of the professor who is the advisor for each student? In that case, we need to describe both tables, and we need to figure out what column can be used to link these tables. Well, the advisor column in the students table and the FID faculty ID column in the faculty table. So let's do it like this. It's going to be select students dot name. We'll say student names. We'll give it an alias. All right, that's step 1. Table students dot, and the column name, and we're going to give the column heading that, comma. Then we're going to do the table of faculty dot name, and we'll say professor's name or advisor's name. We'll just say advisor name. Advisor's name. All right. I'll hit enter and I'll say from. Now this is going to be from the two tables because this is a join. From students join faculty. All right. On parentheses. All right. Now we can't say using and put a common column name like DEPTNO. The reason is because they're not the same column. FID and advisor have the same information, but they have different names. So instead of using, like we did earlier in the join classes, we're going to do on parentheses. So what is the join condition? The join condition is this column from this table equals this column from this table. So let's translate that English sentence into SQL. So join faculty on, we're going to say students dot advisor equals faculty dot f underscore ID, close parentheses, enter. There we have it. We just created two separate tables, faculty table and a student table. We created a foreign key and a primary key relationship constraint. So the primary key constraint was on faculty ID. The foreign key or the reference key was on advisor. Now what if we had another table called classes, or another table called salary, another table this, another, we could have multiple tables with foreign keys, and they potentially can all link up to one primary key in the faculty table. This is just a very basic example of creating two tables with a foreign key and a primary key relationship, and showing how you can select information from both tables with a join condition. So that's the basics of primary key and foreign key. So next we're going to go over how to add a primary key and foreign key to a table that already exists.